Those are the wildebeests. I have a feeling I don't want to get too close, though.
No.
What are the bird things? I've never been here before, which is sad to say, even though I live 10 minutes away. I'm an animal lover. I love, just mostly domesticated animals, though I stick with the ones that are safe. I think I can get this one right. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure those are zebras. I was born in New York and moved to Connecticut when I was about 6 years old, and just had a great time. It's a perfect place to grow up. As a kid, I was a big brat. On the court, I'd throw my racket, yell and whine, and every time I'd miss a ball, my coaches would sit me down and talk to me about being, a little more friendly and a little more fun on the court.
Being that size of a bird, they have a pretty small brain.
So they got really small brains and big bodies. It sounds a little bit like a lot of the pro athletes, huh? Unfortunately, I'm probably a member of that category, too. Now all the other pro jocks are gonna kick my ass. Having scoliosis, when I got diagnosed, they had to put me in a big, hard plastic brace, and that did make me a little bit more shy in high school, I think. Once I got a little older, I figured, just be yourself. I try to be as nice as I can to people and never, create any enemies. Over here, we're seeing 2 black rhinos. They're endangered species because people like to use their horns. They think they're good for medicine, although Jason told us they're really not. You're better off just taking an aspirin.
He's going to open up his mouth, and then you can just put it right inside there. Any slobber you get on you, that's yours to keep.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
A little souvenir.
Yeah.
First thing that earns a pat on the back in my house was good grades. And then, the tennis, if I acted right and was, very sportsmanlike, then my parents would, give me a congratulations and good job. Those are the things that really matter to my family.
I think they're done with us.
Yeah, they don't seem as amused with us as we are with them.
No.
The U.S. Open for me is always special. Last year, I got a first-round win over a good player who was ranked around 70 in the world, and then went out to play Leighton Hewitt and just felt like I had nothing to lose. When you have nothing to lose, sometimes that's dangerous. That means you can play some of your best tennis, and I did. I was legitimately beating now the top player in the world. He had a problem with a couple of football calls. Maybe it was just because he thought he should have been beating me or something, but his first reaction was to complain about the linesman. And I was just, sitting there on the changeover when I heard the remarks he said, and a lot of people thought it was directed towards me.
Look at him, mate. Look at him, and you tell me what the similarity is.
I didn't think it was the right thing to say, but just tried to keep focused till the end of the match.
Okay, get him off the court.
I'm sure he just spoke his mind, and he was upset that he got some bad calls, and maybe I misunderstood what he said, but it's the heat of the battle. Anything can happen out there.
That was between me and the umpire, and there was nothing racial said out there at all.
It was just a little different being in that kind of spotlight. I really wish that spotlight had been there for the tennis I played. How come she's so much smaller than us?
Not sure. It's just some are bigger, some are smaller.
So they got differences just like us, like Shaq and Muggsy Bogues?
Oh, yeah. So they can kill a lion just with one kick.
Can kill a lion? So they could just knock us out with one kick?
If they wanted to.
So we'll try to be nice to them then.
Yeah.
I'm not as worried about, being rich and famous, anything like that. Just when people leave your company, they can say that's a really good person, a good guy to know. And I'm trying to accomplish that every day. Well, we're just saying goodbye to these beautiful giraffes. We got to get out of here and get back onto the tennis court, I think.
Well, time to see how he fared in today's match against Nikolai Davydenko. Here's Wally Masur and Alan Stone.
James Blake, the popular young American. On screen there, he's playing the Russian Nikolai Davydenko. And a good start for Blake, 3-love in the first set. Out on the Louis Armstrong Stadium court. There's Davydenko, who has a ranking of 87. So not quite as well credentialed as Blake. Been playing a lot of tournaments in the challenges where he's done quite well, and now the ranking as high as 87. That's good enough to be main draw at most of the tournaments, where he's gradually improving. Remember that he played Pat Rafter in the Australian Open a couple of years ago and got a set off Rafter. Blake is certainly improving. Since Wimbledon, he's been in 2 finals, one on grass at Newport where he lost to Taylor Dent, and then a further final and a win last week. in a lead-up tournament in hard courts here in the States. So he's coming into this tournament very confident and in good form. So Davydenko serving. It's love 3. Exciting player, Blake Well, isn't he?
He's a good player. I find him amusing. When he walks, he looks like he's about 65 years of age, but when he starts running, he covers the court particularly well. This is of special interest, I guess, because the winner of this match will take on Leighton Hewitt
in the 3rd round.
40-50.
Nice attacking style Blake possesses. So if he wins this and plays Hewitt, it will be a rematch of their 2nd round last year, which was a very controversial match. Hewitt was queried over possible racial comments, but cleared of them.
Davydenko.
A slimly built player, like a lot of the players today, tall and wiry, and really punishes the ball.
Game, Davydenko.
Davydenko on the scoreboard.
Just going back about 3 years, the Americans, I think they're all starting to worry about the future of the game. And Blake is certainly coming along nicely. You see that, 25 beside his name, the 25th seed here. Roddick has made some huge inroads. Blake, not an outstanding junior, really has come on as he's hit the senior tour, developed very nicely. Plays an attractive all-court game, not afraid to come in and volley behind some big ground shots.
Davydenko is more of a heavy-hitting baseliner, not known for his serving or his volleying. Tough competitor.
13-15. A lot of the Eastern Europeans are particularly tough because the tour pays in US dollars, and if you take a few US dollars back home to Minsk or wherever these, a lot of the Eastern European countries, they live awfully well. It's a great motivator for them. Not so much the players from South America. To play tennis in South America, you pretty much come from a middle to upper class family just to have access to the courts and the clubs.
And Blake's a volley point there, which he does quite often.
But I remember particularly sort of in the 80s, it was a terrific way. A lot of Czech players, it was a terrific way for them to get out of the country for a start before the Iron Curtain came down, and once they were out, they could make some foreign currency, some hard currency, and sort of added an extra edge to their competitiveness.
Well, I think that's still there. They're free to come and go now as they wish, but I guess a lot of families still live in fairly austere circumstances in southern Europe. So if your son or daughter shows promise, then they are pushed quite hard, actually, by parents. And if you're really sharp, then you probably can get signed up by IMG and then go to a camp here in Florida, probably Bollettieri's camp in Florida, which IMG own, at a young age. We see girls in particular coming over to Bollettieri's camp at 12, 13 years of age from southern Europe, with their parents as well, relocating on scholarships. So the incentive's there, and the rewards are certainly outstanding. So a good start anyway for James Blake here, very popular American player. Should have too much game for Davydenko. We said Davydenko is not as comfortable at the net as he is at the baseline, an indication of it there. He's dragged down that volley. Exchange.
15-13.
Looks pretty relaxed, James Blake. Well, it's cruel, isn't it, the net?
The nets here just so different, for example, than say Wimbledon. Wimbledon, the nets are strung very loosely. Most net cords tend to be dead net cords, just drop over the net. Here it's so taut they spring up. Very lively once the ball hits the net.
13-14.
Very good backhand here from Davydenko, just taking on the rise. Still break point Blake.
Game Blake.
So racing through this first set.
Blake leads 5-1.
He has shown steady progress since last year's Open, James Blake, and the fact that he won a tournament last week, a significant tournament leading into the US Open, I think that's going to do wonders for his confidence. Quite often you see players finally win an event. To win a match here or there, a big match, is one thing, but to actually go through and win a tournament, it tends to give players a lot of confidence to go on with a job. They feel like they belong.
Love 10.
Wouldn't be surprised to see Blake making some great strides. Already he's ranked in the top 30 in the world, so doing particularly well.
Strong first serve, is a weapon in his game.
I like the way he keeps his left arm up, the throwing arm. He keeps it right up to the last minute. That gives you the height on your serve. Very deliberate ball toss.
Got the one-handed backhand well. You would have changed that when he was young.
Yeah, I would have, but he does have a particularly strong grip, and even the high ball doesn't seem to bother him overly. Let me qualify that by saying that if the player was big enough and strong enough to cope with a single-hander, particularly the single-handed backhand up wide, I would say fine, keep it. But there's not many players out there that can really deal with a ball up above shoulder height on the backhand side effectively with one hand. You'd have to say at this point it's Pete Sampras's Achilles heel.
Yep. So set point here for Blake. Davydenko winning that backhand duel. Yes, clever shot.
Advantage Davydenko.
Blake was a bit casual there getting in. You can see he plays a half volley. He's behind the service line. That's not a good sign. Anytime you've got a volley or half volley up, your opponent's got a lot of time to make the pass.
Well, good effort from Nikolai Davydenko there, down a set point, and has broken back.
Well, Blake almost seemed a bit casual to there. You'd think he's got the luxury of having a couple of breaks, but you'd think he'd really like to close that set out 6-1 and
keep his momentum rolling into the second set.
Start strongly, but not to be.
Blake, a little bit unusual, his background, going to one of the famous schools here, one of the famous colleges. Harvard, I think, was he at? or Princeton, one of those two.
That was Harvard.
Harvard, and not sure if he's actually completed his course there. I think he almost has, but made the decision to try his luck on the tour, and he's done particularly well. So I'd say he'll wait till he finishes his career on the tennis circuit before he now completes his degree.
He maintains that he will one day go back and finish up at Harvard. It's a bit of a worry, isn't it? An educated tennis player.
Yes.
Most of the tennis schools in the States are in Southern California. Stanford, UCLA, strong tennis programs. If players are really serious about their tennis, they tend to gravitate towards those schools.
So Davydenko serving 2-5.
Love 15.
I like the way that Blake takes the ball on the rise. So many players these days hit the ball on the way down. He steps in, takes it on the rise, meets it early.
15.
Choice of shot there from Davydenko.
30-15.
Just a little loose, Blake, at this stage of the set, and he's got it firmly in his keeping.
Blake could normally expect to be playing in front of a larger crowd than this, but the rain, play was abandoned, I think, for 5 or 6 hours. A lot of the day session crowd left, only the hardy few remained.
Davydenko certainly got a little bit more application at this stage, playing a little casual. I don't think we'll see anything at all casual or half-hearted from Nikolai Davydenko. One of his trademarks is his competitive ability. So Blake serving for the set for a second time.
Well, there's a little bit of Sampras in that. Sampras never the quickest player to get to the net after his serve, and more often than not ended up playing touch volleys from around the service line. Blake playing that one to perfection. Well, Blakey, I think he feels this is going out, or he doesn't pick it up to the last minute, but very unusual volley. The following ball was lobbed over his head. I think he thought it was going out.
Well, stunning cross court there from Davydenko.
30.
Well, this will be back on serve if Blake doesn't watch it.
Very casual attitude, isn't it? It's almost as though he feels he's got this match completely in hand. No real application here to close out the first set.
A bit more urgency about that forehand from Blake. A very neat volley.
I thought he made a hash of it the first volley. He just guided up the middle of the court. He had Davydenko in enough trouble. He was able to tuck away the next one.
So a further set point. Had one in his previous service game. No, still can't convert. Probably been one of his problems in his short career. As we've seen, he's pretty casual, but also his game is a little loose, a bit ragged at times. He's got the shots.
Advantage Blake.
This time, Blake takes the first set comfortably enough at 6-3, but could have been 6-1. So we'll see what sort of an effort he makes in the second set after this break.
Updating Fox Sports News, Grant Hackett last night swung the second fastest 1500-metre freestyle race in history to claim his pet event at the Pan Pacific Championships in Yokohama. But Hackett's efforts did little to stop the tide of gold medals won by the Americans. The American team taking 21 gold to our 11. To the delight of the home crowd, Bernhard Langer leads the field at the BMW Open in his native Germany. A stunning opening round of 8 under par 64 as Langer one shot clear of a group of 3 players. This is the only event in Germany that Langer has never won.
Get the complete picture with Fox Sports News tonight during the cricket breaks. The 2002 Ryder Cup coming soon.
James Blake, one of the bright hopes in American tennis. The USTA pours a tremendous amount of money into the tennis development program here in America. They have a big academy that they run in Florida, and they're just setting up another one now in California at Carson in California, where they're building a 16 court complex with a stadium. And their idea now, they've got one on the west coast, one on the east coast, and they'll try to bring all the top junior players together as frequently as possible to practice and compete against each other. If you put the best together, then you're should get some really outstanding prospects or players out of that grouping. Davydenko serving, first game, second set.
Love for 10.
It's really a numbers game, isn't it? How many kids can you attract to your sport? And if you get the numbers, you'll get the champions.
Yes, you've got to have a big base at the bottom of the pyramid.
Love 30.
We struggle a little in Australia, with the numbers, don't we? There's plenty of good young kids, but if you compare it to America and South America and Europe, we're a fair way behind the numbers there.
Yeah,
just population basis.
That's right. Well, it had to be the lob ball down the line. He really did close the net down, Davydenko, and you would imagine he's not a natural volleyer, and that's always their instinct to push forward. He knows it over the top. Yeah, I think France has something like 6 million registered tennis players. That's of all ages, of course, but a fair proportion of those will be kids. It's a very nice forehand. I love the simplicity of this guy's forehand.
14.
Nice and balanced, head still. He doesn't take huge swings. He's quite capable of flattening it out, takes it on the rise if necessary. So that winner brings up 2 break points.
Beautiful placement there. A quick start to the second set for Blake.
First game, second set.
Really is a nice looking forehand, and he's really confident with it. Occasionally misses a few, but he doesn't ever seem to try to play safe on that side. Good sign that when the matches get close, as they invariably do, he will still be looking to attack off the forehand side and play in a positive manner. And over the period of a year, that's going to help you win a good percentage of your matches. So 1-love, Blake, second set.
Oh.
I think what you're saying is good if you stay positive and you keep going for your shots within reason, within the parameters of your game. That's what makes you a better player over the course of the years. If you keep trying to just hit that little bit harder, a little bit closer to the lines, you will make a few errors. But there's good and there's bad errors, and I used to practice a fair bit with Ken Rosal. Even though he was retired, he's still actively hitting tennis balls, and it always struck me how he was always just trying to push the envelope in terms of threading lines or playing adventurous tennis, but within the parameters of his ability, not wild errors. If you go for a shot and you don't miss it by too much, there's always the possibility that you can correct the error. It's just a millimetre in your racket face or just tempering your swing. It's when you see wild errors by 3-4 feet. They're errors that sometimes you can't correct necessarily.
A little bit unlucky there. Quite a good attempt, just overhit that high backhand volley. Not an easy shot. Full-blooded swinging there from the ground and from the net. Driving everywhere. Drive volleys.
Well, this is Blake in isolation, but Davydenko was swinging just as wildly at the other end of the court.
Advantage Blake. Yes. Advantage Blake.
Terrific court coverage there by Davydenko.
This is a pretty impressive volley from Blake. Once again, he's probably a little too far back in the court to expect to win the point, but he did well to control it. Volley behind the service line. The odds aren't with you there.
Quick overrule anyway from the chair umpire, so replaying the point.
Advantage Davydenko.
Davydenko continues to really go all out on his ground strokes as well, so it's a pretty heavy-hitting encounter, this.
Okay, Davydenko. 1.
Bad miss there from Blake, cost him his serve. So break a piece to open this second set. Just a bit loose, isn't he, James Blake, at times?
Yeah, well, when he served for the first set, he had a lot of game points before he finally took it, and once again, plenty of game points, opportunities to close it out. And he'll have to beat his best, Blake, to beat Davydenko. Can't afford too many lapses.
You can see just the intense concentration on Davydenko's face. It's all business. Good forcing tennis there from James Blake.
13-15.
Not too many changes of pace in the rallies. Full-blooded drives all the time. Not seeing too many slice backhands or high looping balls.
Hardest.
So good games put together there by Davydenko to break it back, and then an ace to hold his serve. So 2-1 for him.
With a lot of these younger tennis players that you see, you can't help but be impressed by their hitting and the power that they possess, but you also can't help but think if there was just a little bit more guile and finesse and variation in their game, how it would just add so many more dimensions to what they're doing out there. You'd have to define a lot of these tennis players as they're just great hitters of the ball. But in terms of, are they great tennis players? Well, compared, I mean, it's a bit pointless to compare them to a Ken Rosewall, but he was just so clever. There was just so much to his play in terms of how to set up a point and how to beat an opponent. And there's not a lot of that type of courtcraft in the way that most modern players approach the game.
Well, they just go for all their shots, hit as hard as they can, and if they execute as well as they hope to, they figure they'll win.
It's really a question of them of just balancing their winners as opposed to the unforced errors. On a good day, they hit more winners. They'll come away with a win. On a bad day, the unforced errors flow and they walk off losers.
So Blake to serve. He's won the first set. Trails 1-2, serving in the second. Quite heavy conditions today after the rain.
I think two of the smartest players that I've watched in recent years, one would have to be Hewitt, and as a serve volleyer I thought was particularly wily.
15.
Raft always played to his opponent's weaknesses and to his strengths, and moved the ball around the court in such a way that quite often upset the rhythm of his opponent.
A nice early take on the return there, well inside the baseline, top of the bounce. He's the sort of player that if you're not really on your game and really concentrating and watch what you're doing, he could easily upset you. Nikolai Davydenko.
13-15.
Blake holds.
Two games on. Number 10.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Thanks.
15.
There's the percentage point at love 15. Build pressure? I don't think so.
So they've been full-blooded drives on all the return of serves. First one was a beauty. Second one just missed. That one was a miss-hit. As you said, there's not a lot of thought about nice deep return and constructing the point and working your way into a winning position.
30.
Excellent wide serve. Opened up the court, and no half measures there either for Nikolai. He really saw the opening, hammered it. Cop that.
Well, it's like two heavyweights, isn't it? Whoever gets the best hit in first. Blake's connected with a couple. Davydenko has. Let's see if he tempers his swing on this return.
Don't think so.
Advantage Blake.
Well, he thought for a moment there wasn't going to be a call. Gave him a heck of a shock. A late call, registering the double fault and giving him a break point. Wasted it though.
Advantage Davydenko.
Davydenko not so sure of that
I
call.
agree with the call. Yeah.
By saying he agreed with the call. All right, overruled, and in fact the point going for Davydenko. He leads 3-2 in the second set, and we'll take a short break from Flushing Meadows. James Blake serving the opening point of this game, down 2-3. Quite often throwing in the serve volley point. The case from his opponent up to this stage, anyway. Good bit of work on that serve there. You see it just kicking almost out of reach for Davydenko. A full stretch, couldn't control it. So that's a good serve that James Blake's got. Fine rally. Both players really pushing each other to the limits there.
30-15.
Eventually forces his way forward, and a pretty easy smash in the end. Whack. Courtside camera. Well, a little bit of touch creeping into the game.
Probably getting tired. Been smashing so many balls. And not bad touch at that.
Again, Blake. Three games.
Blake ties it up. Almost an hour of play in the second round singles match. The winner, as we've said, to play Leighton Hewitt. So the draw has been reasonably kind to Hewitt up to this point, but if it's to be Blake, well, then it gets a little tougher.
Got a sneaky feeling that might be a centre court match too. With a little bit of hype surrounding it. Leighton doesn't particularly mind those us against them scenarios if it does eventuate.
That is a great shot. High bouncing wide on his forehand.
That's strong because that's well out of the comfort zone. Let's see if we see this in slow motion. Full stretch, usually hard to control, let alone get that sort of power. Very good striker of the ball, James Blake. Someone could just grab a hold of him and just slow him down every now and then.
Yes, they don't want to change his natural flair and his natural game, but just temper it slightly. Didn't miss by much. Got enough to the opportunity to Blake as we have a look at the break points one. Well, how is that?
No, half in, half out.
Half in, half out, says the umpire. I would have thought...
That's in.
That's not the one, mate.
I would have thought out clearly. And I think Blake's correct there. That would have given him the break.
Did umpire say that's not it, mate?
Yes. He did.
A little bit of Australian.
He did say that it was half in and half out, which is as is in. Only have to touch the slightest edge of the line for it to be in. Not much doubt about that one.
Advantage Blake.
So this time, James Blake does get the break.
New ball, please.
It's 4-3 in the second set, already a set in hand. So the number of times he's broken serve, he could have been up serve for the first set at 5-1, so he could have been 6-1. He's broken twice in the second. He's up 4-3, but should be 2 sets to love already. So perhaps that could be an area he needs to really look at.
Not sure what the deal is there with the headwear.
No.
No, I like Blake when he's coming forward, taking the ball on the rise and smothering that forehand. Looks very impressive. He's definitely hitting the ball with more authority than he was this time last year, Blake. That comes with a bit of confidence sometimes. Another year's physical maturity plus the confidence of winning some big matches.
Time.
So Davydenko, though, we've already seen that he's a very tough competitor. He won't go away here. But Blake certainly well placed to set 4-3 serving.
Sit quickly, please, behind the place. Thank you.
In serving with new balls.
Love 15.
Well, again, just a little impatient.
Well, the problem lies with his speed to the net. Too often he's, after his serve and volley, he's being forced to play shots from behind the service line, and the odds are really against you.
One saved. Gee, is that... Well, called good. Blake accepts it.
He had a half look at the linesman. I thought that was long, but no real argument.
So again, a little loose, James Blake.
Unorthodox shot that from Davydenko. We'll probably see it here in replay. Topspin lob attempted. It's a double-fisted backhand smash. He just lets go of the racket at the last minute.
So 4-all. There it is again, just giving us another look at it.
15 off.
And he gets pretty close, Davydenko. Blake not quite getting the depth right on the lob.
13 off.
Well, just a little encouragement there for Blake.
Let's first base.
And attacking a little more now by Davydenko. Moving forward behind some pretty heavy ground strokes. Setting up a couple of straightforward volleys.
Game, Davydenko.
So easy game, and all of a sudden, from being in trouble, Davydenko finds himself ahead here. Down a set and a break. So I guess that's the thing about this when he plays James Blake, though. You can see that Blake's got all these good shots, but can be a bit extravagant with them, a bit loose.
I think if I had one, I like the way Blake plays. I think he's good to watch, nice aggressive player. I think he doesn't have a lot of respect for the return of serve. He just keeps blazing away, and I think if there was a stat to show how many of his unforced errors are on the return of serve, I think you'd find to be quite a few. Doesn't ever attempt to just block a ball back or try to get the point going. Takes a full-blooded swing at just about every serve that comes his way. I think he's got the measure of Davydenko if he just works his way into the majority of the points. He's got more firepower from the back of the court, serves a little bigger. He's got the ability to come in and tuck away a few volleys.
So have to concentrate a bit now. Well, he has been a bit loose when he's been up.
He has. He was 4-3 serving with new balls. All of a sudden, he finds himself now serving to stay in the set. Sort of like when you swing really hard at a one-wood. Slight error can mean a big miss at the end, and that forehand from Davydenko there was wild.
Love.
Good hustle again, so Davydenko, full marks to him. He has changed tactics. Not serve volleying, but sneaking in whenever an opportunity presents itself. Well, Blake will need to watch it here. Now he really will. Fine play from Davydenko. Set point for him. Really coming out of the blue. Good topspin lob, which Blake can't put away. And then very, very heavy pass. And then a loose volley, so Blake disappointedly doesn't hit the ball out of the stadium, luckily for him, just up in the air, but drops the second set when he really was well placed to take it out. So we'll take this short break from Flushing Meadows and be back with the third set. Second set summary. Davydenko pretty good serving there, 73%. Blake's not bad either. In fact, it's Blake just not taking advantage of the opportunities. He had two breaks, one in the first game and then another when he led 4-3. So really he contributed to his loss there in that set.
Yeah, that's a lot of unforced errors. 19 in a set for Blake and 5 break points. He got 2 of them. He just seems a bit cavalier, actually. This might be a wake-up call.
I'd say so, yeah. But there was some good tactics there from Davydenko to take the initiative away from Blake.
13, Davydenko.
So we're at a set all, and Nikolai Davydenko from Russia will serve to open the third set.
Well, I'm not showing any signs of grinding out the start of this third set. James Blake continuing to hit very freely.
Lost his footing when pulled out wide, and still great effort to get back.
But he made a fundamental error there, Davydenko. When he was pushed wide, he smacked the ball back very hard, and this shot here smacks that. What that does, it actually gives you no time to recover.
Unless you hit it well enough to win the point, which he was never likely to do from where he was.
Seems to be sliding all of a sudden, Davydenko.
Yes, he'll need the retread.
And someone threw him a shoe at the end of the last set, and he did change his left shoe.
Yep, he wants to be changing his right one shortly, because that'll certainly be worn out. Again, just a little casual on the volley from Blake, but he's good to watch. He does different things and comes in, and OK misses a couple, but got some flair about him.
Hey!
Full-blooded drive right on the line for Davydenko. Good start for him.
There's not a lot of Davydenko, is there? And I'm surprised he can hit the ball as hard as he does. Just launches himself into just about everything. No half measures.
Well, this is a big set for James Blake. He should have really been up 2 sets to love, about 6-1, 6-2. And the opportunities that he's created for himself. Instead, he sees himself at a set all against a pretty determined opponent.
Still early days in the career of James Blake, but I think as you get a little older, you realise that if you want to be a contender in the major tournaments, you've got to get through the early rounds unscathed. You talk about him squandering a possible 2 sets love lead. Before you know it, you're involved in a 5-set match. It's not really what you want midway through the first week.
Well, just a little bit too cute. It was a beautiful half volley that he made.
But once again, his instinct to come to the net is good, but sometimes his timing is astray. I mean, very difficult shot to make there, just walking after he attempted that volley lob. That just shows you what can happen. One of the few times that Blake has sliced the ball, he was forced into it. Change of pace upsetting Davydenko, who shanks it over the baseline.
Davydenko's missed a few forehands down the line. This gets a little front on and hits it solidly enough, but just pushes them wide on quite a few occasions. So 1-1, third set. Just a great forehand when he's got time, Blake. He's just put a hole through him.
What about the forehand down the line? I mean, I thought he was struggling to get it, let alone get such a piece of it. Have a look at this. Hooks it back into play beautifully. Just spoons the volley. And don't really get the impression, but in slow motion, he absolutely ripped that. Legitimate play, low on the backhand. It was tough to create an angle.
You could have bet that he really wanted to even hammer that one harder after the spectacular play the previous point.
Yeah, that's where I feel he lets himself down a bit, Blake. Too many errors on the return. It's not as though Davydenko's the biggest server in the world. Pretty solid, but nothing spectacular. Blake's giving him plenty of freebies.
good tennis there. Defended as well as possible by Davydenko, but Blake in control. Putting together some fine shots here and even chipped the backhand return there well.
Nothing wrong with that. Might as well get it back into play at juice. Sets himself up for the opportunity, another break point. Let's see how determined he is to get this return back into play.
Brilliant patch of tennis there from Blake, looking round to his supporters. So he really put together some shots there.
Well, you do get the feeling there that he just made an effort to, on a couple of occasions there, just to get the ball back. And why wouldn't you? Once he's in a rally, he's got all the skills. Just an abbreviated swing there, just made sure of it. And just a huge don't argue from behind the baseline. Just trying to fire up his support crew.
Well, once again, he's got an early break. Managed to drop serve pretty much straight after it, the first and second sets, and then later in the second set, which ended up costing him. And hence we're at a set all. But now a break in the third game.
I just get the feeling the loss of that second set. Blake always gave me the impression in the first two sets that he felt he was in full control.
Yeah.
Just losing that second set, I think, might galvanise him just to knuckle down and get the job done.
Time.
He plays an attractive brand of tennis, but sometimes as a seeded player in the early rounds of a major tournament, it's got to be a more business-like approach. So it'll be Blake serving at 2-1 up, third set, 1 set all.
Find your stage quickly, please. Behind the place.
Well, it's a couple of overrules on that baseline. The linesman just jumping in a little bit quickly with the call, not waiting for the ball to land.
Love 15.
Well, that very baselinesman called upon again to make a close call.
slipping again and running at the surface. It's happened a lot for Nikolai Davydenko.
Just a little two-step there after he hit his backhand, and
losing a bit of confidence, isn't he?
Yeah, sometimes a polyurethane sole can be very slippery, especially if the shoes are new. And on hard court, you're better off using a rubber sole, a little stickier.
And Blake.
So Blake does consolidate, just checking his own shoes.
Well, his are coming apart.
Yeah.
Blake leads 3-1.
So it is a pretty tough surface, hard court, isn't it, on shoes and the balls.
And your knees, your hips.
And your back.
Yeah, I'm not sure there's that much hard court tennis played these days, and a lot of kids, they grow up playing on hard courts during their formative years. Their bodies are growing. They put in the hours on hard court. I think you'll see the careers of players getting shorter and shorter as a result. When you consider that the ball travels through the air so quickly, so the movement is so dynamic. Stop, start.
I think that's why we're seeing the injuries as well.
Yeah,
players going over on their ankles or knees.
Just no give in the surface whatsoever. Basically just cement with a few layers of acrylic paint.
Love 13.
Well, just some signs here that Davydenko is running out of ideas.
Well, yeah, it's hard to say. Initially I thought it might have been good. Blake certainly didn't think so. No overrule.
I saw it good too.
Yep, saw it good as well, said the umpire, confirming the linesman's call.
Well, that chip backhand from Blake has paid some dividends now on return. Just staying low, getting it short inside the service box.
Well, double break here, as he had in the first set, James Blake.
Blake leads 4-1.
Looks to have just a little bit too much class, really, for Davydenko when he's really concentrating.
You want me to send a ball boy?
Yeah. Guy in the white hat, sometimes I call his head, just tell him to get my white shoes and lock her in down.
He wants new shoes, well,
yeah,
that's what he's saying. So
he
dispatching
wants
a ball boy.
A new right shoe, and he's a toe dragger on his serve, so basically he's worn the shoe through to his toe.
He's gone over to his support crew there, and the ball boy has, and told his coach, one of the crew, to go to his locker and get out new shoes. Well, different shoes. I don't know if they're new or not.
He actually just said, I want a right shoe. Just the right shoe, so.
Oh, so he's going to have an odd pair of shoes. Well, we'll see. Take a little while for the gentleman concerned, to go and get to the locker room, get the shoes out and bring them back. Certainly won't happen in this change of ends. So again, when you consider chances Blake has created for himself, it could have been up 6-1, 6-2, 4-1. He could have just been ripping right through this match, but we've got to give credit to Davydenko. He is a fighter.
15 ball.
I can't help but watch this match in the context of the winner plays short. I look at Blake and I think he's a classy player. He's got a lot of firepower. He could do some damage, but as you watch the unforced errors mount, you think, well, Hewitt will certainly take advantage of that.
Yes, he looks a bit wild, doesn't he? He looks talented enough to push Hewitt. But whether to actually go on and beat him, that's another thing.
40-15. Game Blake, new balls please.
Racing through this third set. You're right, well, he was stung into action after that second set loss when he was 4-3 and a break up. That's brilliant.
Well, it was interesting there that the slice approach gave him more time to get to the net. So often he's been content just to belt it. There it is, the slice, just deep, pushes it deep. That gives him time to get in. And a very nice touch on the volley. Couldn't help himself.
No, he just gets a bit excited, doesn't he? After a great shot, he's got to go for an even better one. Showing us a bit of variety here, though. Spectacular.
Well, I thought he was in all sorts of trouble as he was running back to play this shot. As it turned out, he had options. This ball is behind him. You can see him, he's tracking the path of it. He's got options and he goes for the hook. Top spin lob. Great shot.
Well, this has been an outstanding set of tennis if Blake is indeed to get it here. Tremendous range of shots and flair. Does give it to James Blake very convincingly He jogs to the chair. 6 games to 1, the third set. So Blake now ahead 2 sets to 1. And we will see how he goes in the fourth set after this.
Updating Fox Sports News, Alan Langer has been cleared to return from injury for the Brisbane Broncos in tomorrow's NRL match against Canberra at ANZ Stadium. Out for a month with a broken left thumb, the veteran halfback was cleared to play after the team's final training session today. The Broncos have lost their last 3 matches. And the Australian swimming team has been humbled by America at the Pan Pacific Swimming Championships in Japan. The American team took 21 gold medals to Australia's 11, despite Grant Hackett winning the 1500. And the success of our women's 4x100 metre medley relay team on the final night. Full details on these stories and more in Fox Sports News tonight during the lunch break in the cricket.
It's the perfect warm-up for the ICC Champions Trophy.
Brilliant work again from Ricky Ponting.
Watch Australia take on the might of Pakistan. Live Game 2 of the Tri-Series this afternoon, 4:30 on 1.
Third set summary. And the match between Davydenko and James Blake now. There we go. See what he does. The shoes have been delivered to him here. Hasn't done anything yet. In fact, he's going to play with that one, which wouldn't be doing his right big toe any good at all, dragging it along like that.
No, once he starts to take skin off, he'll probably change his shoe. But a better set there from Blake, much more business-like. Even chipping a few backhands on return just to get them in play. So. That's the temptation, Alan, is when you've got all the shots in the world, you might as well use them, he figures.
Yes, it's not going to hurt him here either by the looks of things if he does come unstuck on a couple of them. But it may against a Hewitt because he makes so few unforced errors himself. So you've got to contain the number of ones that you commit. Young lass enjoying the tennis. Well, I think she is. He pulled up a bit gingerly there, Davydenko.
Well, I reckon the way he's been sliding around this hard court, his toes are just about to be going through the front of his shoe. Every now and then he just hits the ball much harder than is necessary. There it is again. Just the way he moves and the way he has had some trouble sliding on the hard court, invariably your toes just get jammed up, unless you're wearing a very good orthotic, right up the front of your shoe.
Very good, strong service game for Blake to open the fourth set.
First game, fourth set.
An hour and 41 minutes. This is providing a useful workout for Blake. He lost a set in his opening match against the American Brian Haley. Dropped one here.
He was a little bit fortunate in that first round, James Blake. He was starting to cramp. It was a hot day. A couple of tie breaks. And indeed, in his match against Hewitt last year, he had all sorts of trouble with cramp and heat exhaustion. So he's probably enjoying these cooler conditions.
Davydenko to serve for the first time in the fourth set. He's trailing 2 sets to 1. Love one.
15 love.
Well, continues to work hard, Nikolai Davydenko. Certainly not going to give up without a fight on what we've seen. He's actually playing quite well. There's probably not quite enough variety in his game. Everything's pretty much the same pace.
Pretty long. Davydenko.
Well, going for the big second serve. 40 love up, worth the risk, and succeeds. You can see him just encouraging himself here for an even greater effort. 1-all, fourth set.
Well, unlike some players that need the ball on the forehand side to be closer to the body to create power, Blake at full stretch can just nail it. Well, I still think he's a bit casual on that first volley. He could have met that much earlier and much higher. Doesn't make his way to the net very quickly. And once again, Davydenko holding his feet, so whether it's a problem with a new pair of shoes, probably plays a lot of his tennis on the clay courts of Europe. Movement on hard court, much different. So when you've got sore feet, Alan, you just spank a winner.
Well, that means you don't have to run anyway in that rally.
Keep the point short. Not a bad serve, he's a long way back. But he certainly throws everything into most shots, Davydenko.
Yeah, this is a real slugfest. This just power shot after power shot. Oh, enormous shot.
I don't know if you'll see that on replay, but he actually slipped as he made contact.
Yes, think so. Good use of the slice there by Blake. Cross court and down the line.
Oh, I've never seen a bloke have this much trouble standing up on a hard court. Hard court is usually the surface where you are most sure-footed. Davydenko slipping and sliding. And it's starting to take its toll on his feet. Just walking gingerly after a few points in the last couple of games.
He was a bit unlucky there.
Advantage Blake.
That is a great hard court serve. just taking the pace off it, getting to kick out wide.
Blake leads 2-1.
Shows you that
You want to wait for him now?
Davydenko doesn't have a lot of variety of his backhand because he really sort of just tried to loop that up. You see here now is some comment about the shoes to the umpire.
He's struggling. His feet are... I don't know what the deal is here. His shoes are a different brand than his clothing. It makes no sense. His clothing company makes shoes, but...
Right now?
Is he called for the trainer?
I'm not sure.
James Blake.
Ladies and gentlemen, the training has been called to the court.
Yes, he has. Called for the trainer. It's unusual, the trainer coming out to fix his shoes.
Well, they're brand new, no question about that. Most players will practice in a shoe for at least a couple of hours just to wear it in.
He's probably getting severe blisters, I'd say.
Yeah, there he goes. His feet are working. Maybe the shoes are just too big. His feet are sliding around inside them. It is strange, though, given that this is a second-round match. You'd think he would have sorted all this out.
Well, I don't think it's a great idea to wear brand new shoes on a hard court because the hard court is a gripping surface. And if you wear soles that are brand new and grip, sometimes, although he's sliding a little bit, but you can have problems with brand new shoes on hard courts. We see sometimes in Australia on our hard courts that players turn their ankle a little at times with a gripping surface and a gripping sole.
Well, I think the thing about rebound is that it is very sticky, particularly on a hot day, so you're best advised to use a shoe that is either very old or is soleless. It has no ripple sole. Now James Blake's leaving the court, so things were going along swimmingly, and all of a sudden it's deteriorated. Blake's leaving. Davydenko can't walk.
And of course the injury timeout doesn't actually start till the trainer comes on and assesses the injury, which takes a couple of minutes. Then he'll let the umpire know that there's taking a 3-minute injury timeout. So often these breaks can take a lot more than the 3 minutes. Well, speaking of breaks, we will take one and we'll be back to show you what actually is going to transpire.
This weekend from the English Premier League. It all kicks off midnight Saturday. Premiership new boys West Bromwich Albion still looking to secure their first points of the campaign. But informed Fulham may prove difficult opposition for the Baggies.
It's in! It's 7!
Then Monday morning at 1, there's a classic battle brewing at Stamford Bridge. Claudio Ranieri's entertaining Chelsea side face their London rivals Arsenal.
Hawthorne goes alone and scores!
Saturday, West Brom Fulham, and Monday, Chelsea Arsenal. Welcome to the one-day party.
Oh, magnificent.
Join the world superstars of cricket as they contest the ICC Champions Trophy.
Yeah, and good catch.
12 teams, 15 games, 18 days of cricketing bliss.
Down the track, what a shot that is. And that is a big hit. Oh, what a good catch. Beautifully taken.
Whet your appetite with this delicious preview of the World Cup, the ICC Champions Trophy, coming soon right here, live, where the game never ends.
Trainer Doug Spring.
Yeah, we'll take it through.
The right foot.
Take it a couple
toes in particular. With Nikolai Davydenko. And you can see, well, that's his left foot there. Got some bandages around already around the toes.
Well, the trick is, Mr. Davydenko, you've got to get a good pair of orthotics so your feet don't slide around all over your shoes. 99% of the players would wear a hard orthotic. Take out the inner sole of the shoe, put in a hard orthotic. But your foot sits in that, doesn't slip and slide all over the shoe as it would as normally. It's the friction that causes blisters and all sorts of problems.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Davydenko is now receiving medical treatment.
So now we're just starting the 3 minutes, are we? Is that the go?
That's it.
He's been treating him for at least 2 or 3 minutes. Well, assessing it. We'll
as you said, he was ascertaining the extent of the injury.
pretty sight, is it?
No, they...
Nikolai's left foot.
Ugly feet. Ugly feet. But look, I've summed up the problem. I mean, it's a rookie mistake he's made. A rookie mistake. This should never happen.
Well, in the meantime, James Blake just has to sit and wait. The right foot seems to be A-OK.
It's hopeless. If you don't have orthotics, you've got wet socks inside a wet shoe, and you just slip and slide, and the friction just
What
creates...
if you don't need orthotics?
No, everyone needs orthotics. They don't have to be
medically
adjusted
or exactly.
Preferable if they are.
There'll be more. There'll be more. You just say no.
There we go. Very good piece.
So basically all his toenails are just getting jammed up in the front of the shoe.
That's just black tomorrow.
That's just unpleasant. Yeah, for a guy that's been around for a while, this is really...
James Blake's trying to keep warm and loose. The stretches. Good idea, really. Didn't want to be just sitting down. It's not the warmest of days. He's got the towel around his neck. He could have actually put on a jacket, tracksuit top.
1 minute remaining, buddy. All right.
1 minute remaining in the injury timeout.
This won't feel too good either. Now he's got layer upon layer all over his toes.
So he's called upon to perform a few medical emergencies, Doug, isn't he? He's got to do it. He's got to assess it. Then he's got to get the treatment and the repair. Everything all done in 3 minutes.
Yeah, the pressure's on him, isn't it? Yeah, basically Davydenko, I mean, he's a quick guy. He moves around the court very well, and then he's coming to an abrupt halt. No orthotics. Toes are just screeching into the front of his shoe.
Treatment complete. He's got to put his shoe on.
Yes, that's true.
That's advisable.
He's in enough trouble with that left foot.
Well, if he can turn this, Blake, to me at the moment, certainly looks the better of the two players. If Davydenko can turn it around, I have to wonder about his durability. Those feet aren't going to feel necessarily better as this match goes on.
James Blake, he missed an opportunity there to change his shoes. He brought the new shoes out. He could have fiddled around with his for a little while.
He's waiting for the skin to start coming off the toe before he changes his.
Right. Okay, well, we'll see what happens. Nikolai Davydenko will serve. He's down 2-1. He's trailing 1-2 in the fourth. Lovely tennis from Blake, a little drop shot. Pulling Davydenko up and wide, exposing down the line and making it. See there that he hasn't got a slice backhand. That was low, no pace on it. He tried to get down as low as he could to play two-handed, but a one-handed chip shot would have been the go here. So just a little bit one-dimensional. Spectacular tennis from Blake.
15-40.
Just so key here from Blake. Comes in, just watch the way he holds that racket face open on impact. Had a rough idea where the court was, kept the racket face strong, 2 break points.
Heavy hitting. No one's going to yield there.
That was just huge. I'm exhausted watching that rally.
The crowd really lapping it up.
Blake leads 3-1.
Blake is really playing some terrific tennis here.
Very confident tennis, isn't it? You look at that scoreline now, 6-1, 3-1 in this last set and a half, and when you consider how he was travelling early on, he really has been the dominant player. This match could be over by now. Blake could be in the locker room, preparing for his next one.
Low 15.
Well, there's the other dimension from Blake. We saw Davydenko in a similar position before, unable to hit an effective chip.
15.
Blake getting it just right there.
Big body serve from Blake gives him the game, and a lead of 4-1 in this fourth set. We'll return with more of the action after this break.
Blake leads 4-1.
When it comes to sport, Fox.
And back
Blake leads
Flushing Meadow, James Blake is serving. Play has progressed a couple of games. He's leading 5-2.
Blake's first place.
And he really is showing us a great range of shots here. His versatility, lovely little angle across court there off the forehand.
Long.
A little casual there. I thought his serve wasn't going to come back.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Davydenko didn't slightly mishit that. Very difficult to read. Talk about a confidence player. I think Davydenko's feet are really starting to bother him at this point.
40-15.
So Match point. James Blake. And he is through to the third round, where his opponent will be Leighton Hewitt. He was impressive there.
6-1.
And he's certainly got some talent, and it should set up a tremendous match with his shot making and his flair against the really tremendous counter-punching style of Hewitt.
Yeah, look, gee, well, he's confident. We mentioned the fact that he won a tournament last week, a big tournament, certainly carrying some real confidence into the US Open here, and Leighton will be very wary, I would suggest.
Okay, well, James Blake through in 4 sets, which gives us the opportunity to have a quick look at Martina Hingis, the 1997 winner, and she's playing